welcome to ETCIO LeaderSpeak. I'm Sneha Jha, editor of ETCIO, and it is with great pleasure that I bring to you this episode of ETCIO LeaderSpeak with Shrini Viswanath, co-founder of Upstox, India's second largest brokerage firm. Shrini serves on the board of directors of Upstox and also heads the strategy, product, operations, and technology divisions. Good morning, Shrini. Welcome to ETCIO Leaders Speak.
Good morning, Sneha, and thank you for having me here. It's my pleasure and honor to be here.
Thank you, Shrini. It's our privilege indeed to have you as our guest on this episode of ETCIO Leaders Speak. Shrini, when Upstox was founded 10 years ago, you wanted to simplify active investing and make it cost effective. How have you seen the evolution of online broking market in India over these years?
So we've started Upstox over 10 years ago, and our mission when we started this company was to help everyone manage their wealth and grow their wealth better. So we've been on this mission of how do we simplify the act of investing and how do we make that much more effective for everybody else, and how do we make it extremely cost effective. The past decade has been the large focus of it has been how do you democratize access to financial markets. Prior to 2015 and 14, for the average person to open a brokerage account and to invest in the markets was a very daunting task. You had to sign over 30 pages of papers to open a brokerage account. You had to mail a check in to your broker, and that would get cashed several days later. There was no instant funding, instant account opening, mobile app, mobile first experience that existed prior to 2015, 2014. We came in here with the sole mission of saying, if we want to get wealth development and growing wealth in the hands of every Indian, then we need to make that completely accessible for everybody out there. And how do we do that? One is that you have to make the process of opening a demat account extremely easy and simple. Two is you have to make it very convenient and cost effective. So for us, that meant that it has to be free. And third is that the largest question that we used to get back then, the biggest question that we get even today is, okay, I've opened an account, how do I invest my money, right? So our focus has now evolved into saying, we've already led the market in terms of convenience and price. Now, how do we sort of get the comfort factor into it?
Now, Shrini, Upstox has a very bold growth ambition. You intend to enroll over 300 million users on the platform by the middle of the decade. How does Upstox focus on continuous product innovation and service improvement that is relevant to both the first-time investors and the matured investors, which are both the fastest growing segments for you and the industry?
So how do we answer that question of where do I invest and put my money in the market? So when we're thinking about what products we want to build to get the next 200 million customers onto the India growth story, we're thinking, how can we use products to answer that question? How do I invest in the market, right? And that involves understanding the customer, understanding their risk profile, understanding their background and preferences, and tailoring the right set of investment assets for them. And that can be as simple as saying, do most of your things in fixed deposits and then do a little bit in mutual funds, or it can be do a majority of yours in high growth equity and a little bit in mutual funds, right? And so figuring that right balance, giving that trust and comfort to that end user is a journey that we're embarking on for the next half decade to get to the 300 million users that we're looking for.
Right, absolutely. And as a customer first business, you've earned the trust of millions of investors and traders. So these are the segments that will then help you grow, and it will also contribute to your profitability, which is a big focus area now that you've broken even.
The nice part about being in this business is that the unit economics of it are quite great, right? So we don't have to spend 10 rupees to earn 1 rupee from the customer. It's one of those things where the value proposition to the customer is very straightforward. They don't feel like they're overpaying for some service. And as a business, it's also something that's sustainable and scalable. It's a good position to be in.
What are some of the innovations that are in the pipeline in terms of your trader experience, the quality of back office you get, and the intelligence you're going to have around the trades that you've executed on your platform?
So one of our earliest targets audience were traders. We started off as a brokerage that catered towards traders. I myself and the other co-founders come from a background of trading. We used to do low latency, high frequency trading before we offered retail traders a product at Upstox. So we understand the importance of having extremely good execution and extremely good market data and why that's important to someone who trades. That's sacrosanct. You can't break that. And we've invested a lot in the last year. 2023 has been a monumental year for us in terms of the amount of products that we've released for traders to make that experience much, much better for them. One of the biggest innovations that we've done as a first in India and probably first in the world is that traders care about market data. And traditionally, what happens is that the market data, the price feed that you get for stocks as a retail trader is very different than the market data price feed you get as an institutional investor, right? Frankly, because it's just too intense, too large to process, too complicated to process. So most retail brokers don't bother to do that. We've taken the pain and the effort to actually give them the actual tick by tick price feed that comes from the exchange and deliver it to the hands of retail traders, right? And this is extremely meaningful for someone who's a day trader and who trades often, right? Many times what happens is that, if you're trading bank nifty options, they move very rapidly in price, right? And so many brokers offer a feature where if a price hits a certain target, then you need to trigger my order to happen, right? And a lot of times what we found out is that in the slower feeds, it never actually triggers. Even though the price has hit in the exchange and comes back, for some reason, the slower feeds are not triggering the order. So we went back, we got this complaint from the customer, and customer said, look, this is a problem for every broker out there, but I want to highlight it to you. We said, okay, we'll take this up. And we've actually invested a lot of infrastructure and a lot of engineering to say, now, no matter what happens, any trade that happens in the exchange, you will get a copy of that. And if that price is something you're watching for, it will get triggered. It's in lines with making sure that we're being as transparent as possible. Financial services is one of those industries where there's never too much transparency. We always have to keep working in just a single direction to win the trust of the customer. And we think it's the right step in there. And it's also the right step in our belief that in the future, that product and technology is going to lead the way in terms of attracting folks who are traders. They are serious about the technology they want. They're serious about, they're spending a lot of money on brokers. They want the best, right? And so for us, investing in terms of getting the best execution in the market is something that we take pride in.
So, Shrini, you spoke about the tick by tick data, and you also claimed that this is the first, this is an industry first offering, right? So, how does the TBT data for retail investors help improve their performance and also support their risk management through the accurate and speedy delivery of data? If you could elaborate a bit on that.
Yes, sure. So a lot of our traders actually use charts to trade. There's a whole school of thought called technical analysis that looks, reads, analyze chart patterns, chart movements, chart indicators to then enter or exit a trade. So when you look at, the holy grail of that is that the charts data, right? The charts have to be accurate and fast. for you to be able to take action on that, whether it's a price action strategy or anything else in the universe of technical analysis. And what we realized was, if you don't have the tick by tick TBT feed powering the charts that are there, you're actually not showing the true accurate data that is required to do that, right? So we've actually noticed that if we take Reliance and plot the price of Reliance in a candlestick for a day, for tick by tick, and then the regular broadcast feed, we've seen a massive difference in terms of the high quality data. The numbers are actually off, right? You can notice that the numbers are actually off when you look at the tick by tick feed and the non tick by tick feed, right? And for someone who's basing their investment and trades on that data, it's absolutely critical that they have that confidence that they're looking at the 100% correct data, right? So these are some things that most people don't talk about because it's not relevant, and most brokers don't disclose it because they don't think it's relevant to the end user. But for us, again, as an end user, if you're trading on price action data, you are a day trader looking at charts, no questions asked, you need to have accurate data. So that's something that's a huge driver for tick by tick for us. The other thing is that we're seeing a lot of activity and traction in what we call GTT orders, or good till trigger orders, right? And that's, what it is exactly that, when, say, a particular stocks touches this price, then you need to execute my series of orders. And what we found is that with tick by tick, if the stock hits that price, 10 out of 10 times the order will go. Without tick by tick, 5 out of 10 times the order will go. The other 5 times you may miss it completely, right? So the accuracy of doing that is something that's absolutely important. And it's something that we want traders to know, that if you were to place this type of order with Upstox and the same type of order with, say, 2-3 other brokers, the probability of success and fill is much higher at Upstox than it will be at any other broker, because we have the best feed out there, right? So again, 2 main focus for traders: have absolutely accurate market data and have absolutely accurate order execution. That's our focus, and that's where we want to be.
Now, Shrini, when we talk about the online broking segment, there is a big opportunity that lies in using AI and ML to discern threats and opportunities for an investor portfolio based on the past actions. So, what steps have you taken on that front?
So we've already started using data science for the last 4 years. Before, large language models like OpenAI and Google Bard have started making headlines. I've been investing in data science and machine learning prior to that too. Several things that we think is very good for the industry when it comes to artificial intelligence and machine learning is, as you mentioned, personalization and being able to advise people how to structure their portfolios where we want to get to. Now, on personalization, generally what we found is that people who own this set of stocks, right, what do others who also own that end up looking at or researching? And we found that that's been very helpful to customers when we talk to them on customer surveys, because there's thousands and thousands of companies you can invest in. How do you pick and choose? Generally, if people are happy with the portfolio that they have, they want to look at companies that are similar to that to add a little bit of diversification. And then generally, they also want to look at what other people are buying, right? What are the social analytics? What is happening in the market? Today, what is the most bought stock at Upstox? And what is the higher trending, and the ones that have hit the new highs and the new lows. So we're using a lot of data science to give that personalization and content to folks, because we want to move away from a platform and an industry that's purely transaction driven. You're coming to Upstox not just for the low price and low cost to execute, but you're coming to Upstox as a place for you to learn and discover new asset classes. So this is one of the places we're using data science and ML to help.
You mentioned customer service. How are you exploring the use of generative AI models for customer service at Upstox?
We're actively exploring Gen AI to help customer service. In fact, some of our touch points in terms of chat and voice already use generative AI. Our call center IVR and the chatbot both run off of OpenAI's technology to be able to process and respond to folks. We're investing heavily because the belief for us is that one of the harder problems to solve in financial services is there are very few experts in the field, and there's a lot of people who want expert advice. And traditionally, this is not very easy to scale. One is just because of the pure one-to-one relationship. It's hard to get 300 million people exactly, that one-to-one RM experience. So how do you scale? I think that's one place where technology comes in. The second is that India is a very unique country in the sense that not everybody speaks one language. When we look at our own customer analytics, we see that in customer service calls, chats, Hindi is used 70% of the time, and then comes English, right? So how are you going to solve giving advice in different languages, high quality advice, but in different languages, right? And these are things that are perfectly suited for something like Gen AI. I don't would not say it's mature right now for Indic languages, but give it another 1 or 2 years, we'll start seeing homegrown AI companies that are coming here and trying to solve that problem. And I think using that to then leverage to say, how do I give better financial advice to our customers? That is going to be a next game changer.
Now, Shrini, as a mobile-first trading platform, Upstox has enhanced its mobile apps by incorporating a wide array of tools, alerts, and advanced automated features. How have these additions offered traders increased convenience and comprehensive analytical capabilities?
So when we started offering Upstox for retail traders in 2012, the mobile app was responsible for around 5%, not even, it was sub 5% of all orders coming in. Today, that number has gone to 92% of all of our order flow comes into mobile. And mobile is just now a huge juggernaut force that's driving not just our business, but the entire industry forward. And we've seen that solving for mobile, solving for India is not a very easy problem. It's not something that you can copy paste from any other country. It's something that's very unique to us, and it's unique product and tech challenges that only we have to solve ourselves. In most countries, first of all, majority of users usually have iPhone, and that makes it very easy to develop. Apple, you're buying an Apple iPhone, it's comes with really good hardware. It comes with expensive technology in there. And generally, for the most part, as a company, it's easy to develop on Apple phones, right? But in India, 95% of our customers use Android. And it's not a single Android model. It's over about 170 different models that we see at any point in day, right? And they're all built differently. They all come with different specs. They all have different network providers. They all have different versions of Android. So figuring out how to build the right mobile experience, but also figuring out how to do it in a cost-effective, scalable way is one advantage that we've been able to do because we've had that continued focus on doing that right. And I think it's one thing that every company in India has to really look at doing that right, because the future is going to be more and more things in mobile. Our customers want more advanced features, like you mentioned, like option trading, which traditionally was only available on desktop. They want to fit it into that tiny 3-inch, 4-inch screen, right? So, and with the 3G, 4G connection in rural T2, T3 cities, right? So how do you do that? It's a very difficult engineering problem to solve. But what we do is, these are challenges that there's no guidebook out there that says this is how they've done in the US, so you can do it. This is something that we have to explore on our own, talk to our customers, figure out this is what their aspiration is. They see all this. They don't have access daily to a laptop. They have it on the mobile phone. How do we get that first class functionality that's normally available on a desktop onto their mobile phone? So that's a daily challenge for us, but it's a daily motivation for us to also take that ahead and push it forward.
So, Srini, you're right when you say that performance is very critical for your app. Similarly, it's very important to for you to provide a safe, simple, stable, fast, and secure platform because you're in the money business and there's a lot of trust of the people, investors, and traders involved. So, what steps have you taken towards the stability, resilience, and security of your platforms?
Our engineering team working tirelessly to ensure that we take stability as one of our key performance indicators for our own selves. And that's something that's absolutely required today in any business. I would say 5, 7 years ago, consumers were more forgiving and accepting that if you had some downtime or outage, it's okay. We will manage, next day comes and everything. But now what we're seeing is that the bar is continually being set higher and higher and higher. You have one outage, it's going to be something that the customers speak for years. They will not forget that for years, right? So one is that as a company, we take it as one of our key performance indicators to say that we need to be at a 999 uptime, and have extensive data resiliency plans across the board, whether that's using multiple data centers, multiple cities to extend our services, edge networks on clouds. We have to think of each and every way that things can fail and be prepared for that, right? And these things can fail not because of our own folly, but it can be because of some other vendor, some other provider that's there. It doesn't matter. We have to be prepared for that, and we have to take ownership and build resiliency. So the internet infrastructure in India today is far more advanced than what it was 10 years ago. A lot of providers, ISPs, cloud providers have done all the heavy lifting to get us where we are today, and I'm very thankful for that. And for us, it's about keeping the customer mindset there and keeping that understanding that there's no way that we can go down to do that, right? So that's from our side. The second aspect is that the regulator has also become very serious about safety and security and enforcing very high quality standards for all stockbrokers, which I think is a great move. And that forces everybody to double check their infrastructure to ensure that they're on top of their resiliency plans, because there's someone also watching and overlooking that.
With the evolution of online broking market in India, what are some of the trading and investing trends you have observed and are capitalizing on currently? And how are you leveraging technology to stay up to date with these market trends and the consumer sentiments as well?
One of the recent things that we've seen was during COVID-19, there was a massive rise in the number of demat accounts and people generally interested in stock markets, not just in India, but this is a phenomenon that happened globally. And then about in January 2022, we saw that taper off a little bit and come back down, but then that didn't last too long. Uh, it started picking up within about 2 or 3 quarters again, right? People started opening accounts, getting that trust back in the market. There was a little bit of loss of confidence because of what's happening globally, but then people then quickly back up and got back up. And the change we're seeing is that domestic demand and domestic uh, drivers are what is also pulling the market up, versus traditionally what we see is that FPIs putting money in is generally what drives the market up. And one of the more healthier patterns that we've seen now in 2023 versus say 2021 is that more people are using healthier investment habits like SIPs versus trying to time the market and buying it at a price that they think is low or selling at where they think is high, right? So instead of trying to time the market, they realize that they just need to get in the market, and it's better to do that systematically at a frequent time, just sort of average dollar average cost your way to wealth versus trying to just time it and then be disappointed with that. So that's definitely a trend that we're seeing that's there.
Srini, you operate in the high stakes online discount broking sector. But the next step in that evolutionary process is to become the destination of choice for all financial services across the spectrum. How are you evolving from being just a stock trading platform to a more holistic wealth management platform? And what role do you see technology playing in that evolution?
That's absolutely right. We don't think of ourselves as just a stock brokerage platform. We do see that the way is that if you're thinking wealth in your mind, then Upstox is a brand of choice that should be there. How do we get there? And I think the first is that we've started diversifying from stockbroking. Again, when we first started, we started off as a platform for day traders. And then about 6, 7 years ago, we've diversified and started offering mutual funds and equities because we wanted to get to the wider market. Now we want to widen that even more. This past year, we've launched sovereign gold bonds, fixed deposits, corporate bonds. IPOs are a great market now also. And we've started diversifying all the things that we want to offer because wealth doesn't necessarily always equate to investing in stocks. It can mean as simple as taking the money from your drawer and putting it into a fixed deposit, right? So for us, it's just how do we change that mindset into saying this is not just about stocks, it's about just growing your wealth and growing your money. And as baby steps as you want to take, we're ready to support that, right? And the regulators also heard is thinking in the same direction and heard us on that, that look, to make that happen, it's not only about making it convenient, making it cost effective, it's also about making it micro investments possible, right? So SEBI has recently talked about putting out SIPs that start as low as 250 rupees, and then that's a great step, right? So in the US they have something called fractional shares investing, right? And then we've been talking with the regulator to see these are kind of ways that you can say if you're not even able to afford one share or one unit of SIP, can we break that up into fractions and help investors get there, right? So how product and technology comes into this is that you have the overarching goals of saying we need to make it convenient, we need to make it cost effective or cheap, and we need to make it bite sized, right? Like the sachet size model for investment. That's how you're going to scale to getting to 300 million, and that's how you're going to also be able to offer a wide bouquet of assets to everybody. Beyond that, our plan is also once we do look at offering all the different type of assets that are available to an Indian, we also want to see if we can offer other products such as AMCs and insurance for them also, right? So if there's any way that we can use data science, machine learning to offer better insurance products with lower premiums and higher coverage, that's something that we feel that is in our mission as a financial services firm to go and solve.
Right, absolutely. You're right, Srini, when you say that it has to be convenient, cost effective, and the end goal is to empower individuals, right? So, with that, I think we will wrap up this episode of ETCIO Leaders Speak. Srini, thank you so much for coming on this show and sharing your insights with us. It's been absolutely delightful talking to you today.
Thank you so much, Neha, and it's been wonderful and great to be a part of this initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Srini. Thank you. I hope you liked this episode of ETCIO Leaders Speak with Shrini Viswanath, the co founder of Upstox. Thank you for watching.